I just ask all of you to please mute your microphones, please. And later on when we do the Q&A, you can of course unmute to talk to me, but just so we have that background noise not as part of the video. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes. As you can see, it's still Christmas in my office. I'm one of those people. I start Christmas early and I extend it late. Welcome. Give it another minute and then we'll get going. Hey guys, welcome. See some names I recognize and definitely some new names. Welcome all you newcomers. Okay, so for you new guys, this is how these calls work. I start the call with the topic of the month. So whatever, the topic is for that, in the email that you get. And then the majority of the call, I try to leave for your questions. And they can be relating to the topic at hand. They can be related to our products. They can be related to just general nutrition information. If you have questions, that tends to be where the questions usually go. It ends up being like a theme of some question that someone has and it spawns off to other things from there. So anything within my realm of knowledge, I'm happy to talk to you guys about. You can talk by just unmuting or by raising a hand, up to you. And I guess we can get going. 103. Okay, well, today's call is about how to face this new year, and not to be generic, because I'm trying to give you some really tangible things you can do to make the new year really, if you're ready for a change, or if you're just ready to sustain what you've been doing since last year. I don't know where all of you are in your health journeys, but I know one thing that I wanted to talk about was how to set realistic goals for 2025, because I feel like the new year comes around and I don't know, some people get really into the whole resolution thing and they make these lists of resolutions. And, if you look at them again at the end of the year, maybe you hit one of them, maybe two. It's really easy to get really lofty with your goals. And to me, I'm an optimistic realist, so I really like to make goals that I know that I can potentially reach. They still challenge me, but that I can reach, because then you feel so accomplished when you do reach them. And then it makes you want to set more goals and reach those, rather than setting a goal that would be very difficult for me to reach. And then feel like a failure when I don't. So to me, setting a realistic goal means taking a really honest look at the kind of person you are. Meaning, if you're talking about, let's say, talk about diet, because that's obviously what I specialize in. If you're the kind of person who that you are an all or nothing kind of person, and you can embrace an entire concept, and you want all the old out and all the new in, and you will embrace it and go forward with it, then awesome, then do that. But if you are not that kind of person, you have to also be honest with yourself about that. And you're a kind of person that likes to have small changes over time. And once you conquer one small change, do the next small change, then the next small change, and that's more sustainable for you, then make that your goal. Don't make a big goal your goal if you're not a big goal person. And I mean, you might want to be, but at this point in your life, if you really are, or if you're not. So that's why we have, for example, a signature reset. That is a classic example of a product that is for the person who wants a total body reset, wants a life overhaul and a shift, that really wants to learn how to read labels, how to make choices, how to structure a lifestyle differently, and wants to do it for 90 days and commit to 90 days, because they know, or that in that time you will form real habits that will last forever. And that program has created that for many, many customers. But that is if you are that kind of person. If you're the kind of person who's more slow and steady changes, you might be better off with something like a Build-A-Box product, where you can just choose an array of different kinds of juices and smoothies, and just start by having one a day or two a day, or maybe replacing one lunch a day with a smoothie, or having a green juice every morning, or having a craving crusher shot before your meals, or whatever. Those might be more realistic kind of changes for you. So I think that to make 2025 successful in the first place is to make goals really reachable for you, and then to know how to get the tools you need to make them happen. So whether that's using our products, and if you're here, you're obviously our customer, or whether it's using other resources that you have, or possibly other resources that I provide in different programs that I have here, like the guides that I give you. If you've done the skinny method, if you've done the protein method, if you try the reset, you have access to lots of my guides. And the guides that I put in these programs are exact replicas pretty much of what I've used with my my own personal clients in my practice for 20 plus years. So the meal prep guide and how to eat out at restaurants and swaps, they're not just like arbitrary things we suck to make a product more valuable to you. I put them in, I chose one of those products, and I chose them because I developed those things little by little over time, because clients would ask me for that information. So I was like, oh, that's something I should include. I'd have a woman come to me and say, how do I eat out at a Chinese restaurant? I'm like, well, if she has that question, other people have that question too. So it makes sense in that case to make a guide that other people can have. And that has become part of my welcome folder for my clients for years. So that's why I gave those guides to you in the different programs. They're totally intentional. The Signature Reset has the most guides. There's 11 guides in that program because it's the most comprehensive program. But even the smaller weight loss systems, which are like the skinny method, the protein method, they all have recipes and guides included. And I hope that you use them. A lot of people don't realize they're even there, but I hope you use them because they're, to me, the game changers of how you make a lasting change. So that's number one. Next on the list, I wanted to talk about how to maximize your cleanse results. So I know a lot of people cleanse for the new year. I'd love, if you want to do a little hand raise, I'd love to know how many of you are probably cleansing for the new year or have a cleanse coming up. Yeah, nice. So cleansing, is a great time. I mean, cleansing is good anytime, but a lot of people like to start in the new year because obviously you're just through the holidays and probably overate or had lots of stuff that you normally don't eat, or you just feel kind of weighed down, or you want to start the new year fresh, whichever the reason might be. If you are a regular cleanser or a first-time cleanser, there's things you can do to maximize your results or to make the cleanse experience better for you. Hey, Jen, welcome. First off, prepare for your cleanse. Don't just go from eating your burgers and your fries one day to cleansing the next day. Because, you can do that. You can do whatever you want, but it will be a shock to your system, and you'll have a more of a strong detox reaction, meaning like you might get some like diarrhea or something, you might get a stomach ache, or you might just feel really more fatigued because your body has more toxins to move out. So ideally, you would take the first maybe the 2 or 3 days before you cleanse, and you would kind of ease into it. And there's instructions for that in your box that you get with your cleanse. But basically, it's trying to lower the caffeine, lessen the animal products or the types, and the processed foods really is the big thing to try to lessen or to eliminate. Having less dairy or no dairy, having more vegetables and fruits and more water, and just and no alcohol. And it's only for a few days, and this is just to get into your cleanse, so your cleanse is not such a system shock. And then when you do your cleanse, you don't have to be married to only doing the juices and or the smoothies. You can certainly eat the cleanse approved foods, and they're also in the packet that you get with your box. People are always afraid that if you eat, you're going to mess up your cleanse results, and you're not. Depending on your reason for cleansing. If your reason for cleansing is to give your digestive system a break and you just want a total detox, then don't eat, just drink. But if your goal is weight loss or just a reset or just general health, energy, you can certainly eat fresh fruits in abundance. You can eat fresh raw vegetables. You can even have something like a baked sweet potato at night, just plain. If you want something hot, this time of year, people definitely crave hotter things. You can have herbal teas with honey with no caffeine. So there's definitely things you can have if you want to have them, or if it helps you do a longer cleanse. So for example, if you're only doing a 3-day cleanse, it might be easier for you just to stick with the juices because it's only 3 days. But if you're trying to attempt a 10-day cleanse, you probably will have a much better experience and better luck sustaining it and not being miserable if you decide to eat a little something, at least towards the end of your cleanse, or maybe each day you just have with a small little snacks or some meals or whatever. You can really do whatever you want. I mean, we used to have a product called the half-day juice cleanse, and that we provided like veggie burger meals for dinners, and we saw amazing weight loss results with that cleanse as well. So you certainly can still lose weight and detox and feel good by including some food in your cleanse. So don't make yourself crazy. You also can continue to still have your coffee. If you're a coffee person in the morning, I do recommend limiting it to 1 cup, a small cup a day, and to make sure you have it only with a clean plant milk or black. So clean plant milk, meaning just like an almond milk that's just almonds and water, not like an almond breeze that has 50 ingredients. So that's not clean. That's the opposite of cleansing. That's just more toxins in a different form. Before I move on, do we have questions about that? Yes, no? Okay. Another question I get a lot in general, this is not just with cleansing, this is with overall healthy eating. The next few questions are about overall healthy eating for you in the new year and going forward, is how much fruit is okay to have in a day or in general. So there's a lot of misconception about fruit. And if you've been here before, then you know my take on this, but a lot of you are new names, so I'm assuming you don't know my take. I think fruit is villainized, and it shouldn't be villainized. And it's not the same type of sugar as processed sugar and how it reacts in your body. One is very detrimental and one is very beneficial, obviously fruit being beneficial. I personally, if you don't know my story, I have eaten an almost all raw vegan diet for 20 plus years. So 8 of those years was completely raw vegan. And then some after that time, I started incorporating some other kinds of non-vegan things and some occasional baked potatoes and rice and things. So I eat kind of a more eclectically now, but the majority of my days, every day, I would say is 90% raw fruits and vegetables, and it's never wavered. So I'm a big, big believer in raw food nutrition and what it does for health and what it does for weight loss. I did that in the first place because I was not naturally slender. I am now, but I wasn't then. So it was definitely initially a tactic for me to lose weight. And then I got so healthy after that, I changed my degree to become a nutritionist. I became such an advocate for health and wellness because I saw how it changed my life. So that being said, I would consider myself probably a fruitarian because I live on fruit all day till dinner pretty much every day. I mostly eat fruit till dinner, either in juice, smoothie, or fruit form till dinner most days. And I've done this for many, many years. I'm probably the healthiest person I know. I can't tell you the last time I went to a doctor. It has to be over 18 or 19 years ago now. I don't get tired. I don't have the slump in the middle of the day like other people get. I still cut muscle. I'm toned when I work out. I have energy. I'm a big believer in eating fruit, but eating enough of it. So most people, if they do eat fruit, they're used to having like the half a banana, the Weight Watchers used to let you have, or Atkins or whatever that was, or having just berries because they're low on the glycemic index. I don't buy into all that at all. I don't believe in having only low glycemic fruits. I believe in the more fruit sugar, the better if it's from whole, fresh, and ripe fruit. And ripe is the key because you don't want to be having unripe produce. Unripe produce, number one, is nutritionally deficient. And number two, it could cause stomach issues. Like, for example, people associate bananas with constipation, but bananas are only constipating if they're unripe, meaning if they are green, yellow even, or yellow with green on the stem. That's an unripe banana. Until a banana has brown speckles on it, it's not ripe. And once it's got those brown speckles, it doesn't have to be like brown, splotchy, and soft and gross. But once it has those brown speckles, it's chemically converted from a starch to a sugar. And that's when you should eat it. And then it's no longer constipating. It's actually laxative. And it's very, very healing for your gut. And you can eat 1 or 10 a day if you want. I mean, I certainly make smoothies with 4 or 5 or 8 bananas sometimes in them, and I'll drink that whole thing in a day myself. So it sounds crazy if you're not here before, you're not used to this. And I'm not necessarily advocating that you do this. My point that I'm making is that don't be afraid of fruit, but the key is how to eat fruit. And I'm saying how because 2 things. 1, it should be ripe. And number 2, it should never be mixed with fat. So most people make this very common mistake because it's become very commonplace to say, like, have an apple with peanut butter because you always want to have protein or fat with your fruit. And that is not, for blood sugar purposes, it might appear that it keeps your blood sugar more stable. But the reality of it is that it keeps your blood sugar elevated much longer than it should because the fat stays in your bloodstream a much longer time than fruit sugar does. And if you talk about how fruit digests in your body, this ties into the next thing I'm going to talk about. Fruit is just basically water and fiber, right? So it moves in and out of your gut into your digestive system probably in about 35 minutes. But other foods like fats and proteins, so nuts, cheeses, meat, eggs, whatever, they could take anywhere from 2 to 6 hours to digest in the same way, depending on if you're a slow or fast metabolizer. Most people who struggle with weight loss are slow metabolizers, and you can test that. I'll explain to you how after I've done it before here. If you're a slow metabolizer, what's going to happen is that the fruit is going to try to move out of your gut. The fat's going to stay in your gut, and this push and pull reaction happens, and you're going to get bloating, gas, stomach pains. You're going to think you have IBS. You don't. You're just you're miscombining your foods, and it also causes weight gain or slow weight loss, depending on where you're at with your hormones and stuff. So the key is having all the fruit you want, but not having it with fat. You can have it certainly with vegetables, like with greens. You know, green smoothies are totally fine to have. You can have like a green juice with fruits and greens, fine. You can even have fruit with like cooked vegetables and stuff. If you're having like, say, a vegetable, steamed vegetable or vegetable soup or something, you want to have some fruit after, there's no fat in it, fine. But if you're having fat, once you start introducing fat into your day, I wouldn't have any more fruit. There's a few exceptions to that rule, but that's a good thing to generally remember. Which leads us to the next thing I was going to talk about, which is how to properly eat fat for eliminating bloating and weight loss. So I am all about healthy fat. We need to have it. I certainly eat a lot of it every day myself, but I'm very careful about when I eat it. So I only eat fat most days, not all the time, most days at my dinner meal. So if you're a person who struggles with weight loss or bloating, I highly recommend limiting your fat intake to 1 meal a day and having it be your dinner meal. You don't have to limit how much you have, just have to limit the type you have and when. So the types of fats that are the healthy fats are cold pressed, like extra virgin olive oil, avocado, uh, raw nuts or seeds. And then I also kind of bulk in there, meats and chickens and eggs. Although some of those are are lower enough in fat where you could have them even like at lunchtime, like a hard-boiled egg or something at lunch, probably wouldn't upset most people's stomachs. And you can have those fats at dinner time pretty much in whatever quantity you want, with some exception. However, you don't want to heat them or cook them. So that's like the kicker. And people always look at me a little crazy. But if you're used to sauteing your vegetables in olive oil, you'll be much better off from a health standpoint, from a hormone standpoint, especially if you're in menopausal or perimenopausal years, which is the 10 years prior to menopause, meaning if you're like 38 plus, this includes you, by not heating your fats. So when you heat your fats, you chemically change those fats and they don't react in your body the same ways when they're raw or cold pressed. And so your body has to work much harder to process them, and they also often store them. And that's why one of the reasons why people have high triglycerides and other problems too. So those oxidized heated fats are really a problem for lots of health conditions and for weight loss. So what I would say doing is, if you want to have sauteed vegetables, saute them in a little bit of water or a little bit of chicken broth, or you can dry roast them on parchment paper with seasoning still. And then if you want olive oil, you can just add a little bit at the end. It's not the same texture, but it's much, much, much healthier and better for weight loss. And that one little trick will save you some major calories, and not even calories, just the right kind of calories. And that whole lesson is also taught in the Stay Skinny method as well as the protein method in your guide. So I kind of go into that in detail there. This section almost always has questions when I bring this up for newcomers. So I'll take a break here. And if you have questions, this is a good time to ask them about this particular part of the talk. Great. Oh, here. Okay, Leanne, you go first. Feel free to unmute. Leanne, did you want to ask a question? I see your hand up. No? Okay, if you can just unmute if you have a question. I see a Fulton, you have a hand raised. Did you want to ask a question?
Yes, hi.
Okay.
You stated something that I had never heard before when you mentioned about with the apples and the protein. So I want to make sure I get it clear. It's best to stay away from those things when we're having fruit, because it will keep our sugar high if that's what we deal with, because that is one of my personal things. It does keep me full, but I would notice then my sugar seems to be high because my body would react, whether it's my vision or what have you. So can you just, because I stepped away and I came back and I heard the apple thing and I was like, wait, that's pivotal. Can you
Yes.
say that again for me? Thank you.
What happens is when you have fruit with fat together, the fat keeps your blood sugar elevated longer because it keeps the sugar in your bloodstream for a longer time. So it's better to have the fruits by themselves, and to have, if you're looking to be fuller longer, rather than having one apple, have 2 or 3 apples. And that would actually be better than having one apple with peanut butter, for the sake of blood sugar and for the sake of weight loss. And I don't know if you're monitoring blood sugar because of diabetes, but if you are, a phenomenal book that I highly recommend is called Mastering Diabetes, by Robbie Barbaro, and someone else wrote it with him, Cyrus, I can't think of his last name. But I used their methodology with clients for years. So I have many type 1 and type 2 diabetics in my practice. They're all on high fruit diets with better sugars. I mean, the type 2s have pretty much all reversed them. Anyone that has followed the protocol has reversed the type 2 for the most part. Type 1s, obviously, they're not going to reverse it, but they can have much more controlled blood sugar levels and much less need for insulin injections and stuff. So I highly recommend that book. I'll put the name right here for you in the description. Mastering Diabetes. Does that clear up the question for you?
It does. Thank you so much. And thank you for the reference of the book.
Of course. You're welcome. Ellie, I see your hand up.
So I was wondering what your thoughts are about using air fryers, and then putting your seasoning the olive oil on afterwards.
Yeah, from a weight loss standpoint, air fryers are a great option because you can cook without any fat, and you can make crispy potatoes and French fries and stuff, and you can just add the fat. So absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Ted, you have a question. How are you? I remember you. How are you?
Yeah, hi. So I'm doing a post-holiday cleanse, I'm sure, like a lot of people. and getting back into the swing of things. But I am at the point where I am getting a little to the point where maybe I want a potato at night
Mhm.
or something like that. So that's, I have had some vegetables and a lot of fruit. But I'm just curious, is the potato, those carbs okay as well?
Absolutely. I recommend, if you want something salty and savory, just do a baked white potato and you can put some salt on it. And it's very satisfying for something savory. Or if you don't care for being sweet, then a sweet potato. But you can have more than one. You can have two or three if you want. It won't hurt you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And since you're talking about diabetes, I do have some good news for you. And I've been meaning to write you, but I haven't. But in June, I went on the 90-day, forgive me, I
Oh,
forget
you
what you
did.
call it.
Good.
Yeah, and I've been holding that, and it was because my doctor put me on metformin, and
Oh,
I read up about it, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And he goes, "Well, lose the weight, and I'll take you off it." Well, he did take me off it in December when I went back with my blood tests,
wonderful.
and I went from a AC1 of 7.5 to 5.2 in about 4 months,
I
five
love,
months. So
yeah,
it's so cool.
I would
And he
love
took me
it
off.
if you would put this in an email. I would just love to have the testimonial if you don't mind, because we're actually
Yeah.
doing some testimonials and I would love to feature it if you want to be
So I
featured.
even got the little chart.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah, please send it to me. I love hearing
Okay.
these things.
And so over that time, I've also lost 57 pounds. So it's
Since you
all
started,
goodness.
you're saying
I'm sorry.
since the reset, you lost 57 pounds.
Yeah, reset plus probably another 30 days or so. I didn't, because I
Oh,
did a little cleanse before I started the reset. Then I did the reset, and then I've been just keeping, with the program in general.
oh, I just love to hear this. Please write to me
Yeah,
about this in details. I would love to have these recorded. That is
sure.
57 pounds. Do you hear this? This is amazing, you guys.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
25 more to go.
you're the exact reason why I made this program, because it really tell me if you think I'm right. I mean, you create a habit. It becomes habitual thinking after a while, right? Because you're doing it for so long, and it just becomes natural for you not have to always. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. But I will also admit, over the holidays, I fell back into my old habits pretty quick. So I had to push myself to get
But you
out
need
of
to get
it.
back on track.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Right.
but no, actually, I didn't ever think I'd get used to eating that big salad at night.
But you did, right? It happens.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
body, you'd be surprised if you make something a habit for a while. Really, if you can stick with something beyond a couple weeks, really 45 days is the magic number. But if you can stick with something even beyond 2 or 3 weeks, it becomes habitual, and
Hmm.
then you have real lasting changes. So, congratulations! I'm so glad you
Thank
told
you.
me all this information. It's made my day. Oh man. And who? Oh, see, Jennifer. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, so you mentioned, the heat with oils.
Mhm.
Like I'd heard that there are some oils like avocado or maybe coconut that are more stable to heat than olive. Like if there's something that we do need to heat an oil for something, are there oils that are preferred for that?
It's true. Both coconut and avocado oil are more stable under high heat. So that it will be less detrimental to use those. However, it's still going to impede weight loss if weight loss is your goal. And it's still not as healthy as not heating it because it's still
Right.
oxidated fat. So it's still like oxidating, that's like cancer causing, lot autoimmune. I don't know what your issues might be, or and hopefully not, but there's certain conditions that really can get aggravated or respond negatively to certain types of like cooking methods, and heating fats really negatively affects autoimmune disorders and things like a cancer and things like that too. So depending on your goals, if it's a weight loss thing, just keep in mind it's not going to be as good as doing it cold press, but they definitely do have a higher heat level, so it's not as dangerous. It definitely can hold higher heat than olive oil can. Yes.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Allison, I think your hand's up too.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. So I was just wondering, because I've heard you mention a couple times that there's like additional information in the boxes when the juices come. I'm currently doing my second 3-day protein, and then I'm going to be starting the skinny method after that.
Great.
Which I've gotten my deliveries. However, I didn't see any additional nutritional information or anything. That's why I popped on here today, because I didn't know where
You
to
didn't
find
get
that.
Okay, you did not, did you get the original Stay Skinny Method pamphlet in there?
I think I got like a single card, or
No.
like maybe it was like a trifold.
It could be a trifold that's specific to the Stay Skinny Method, and like the whole third panel will have the rules about not to heat and fats and that kind of thing. And
Okay.
in fact, there's a QR code that takes you to the guides. That being said, if you don't have the correct pamphlet, because sometimes they do mess that up,
Yeah.
I can certainly send you all the guides. So just email me, Lisa Testa, LISATESTA at Raw Generation, and I'll happily email them to you if you're missing them.
Okay. That'd be great. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, Leanne, did you have another question? Or was that an accident? Accident? Okay, I'll move forward for now. We're almost to the end of my list anyway, and then the floor is open for you guys anyway. People often ask me how much, oh, did you have a question, Leanne?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out the mute
No.
and unmute stuff. I didn't really have a question, but I guess to Allison's point, because I'm new to Raw Generation, so this is my second day
Oh,
of doing the I'm doing the skinny cleanse, and then also after this, I'm going to follow it up with the Stay Skinny Method.
great.
But just to again to Allison's point, I just want to let you know I also did not receive that information in my boxes either. I'd only received like that trifold, like the brochure type thing that she was
Well,
talking about.
what you would get, all you would be getting in each box is a trifold. So you should get
Okay.
a trifold for the skinny cleanse that's specific to cleansing, and you should get a trifold in the Stay Skinny Method box that's specific to that program. So if you that trifold specific to the Stay Skinny Method program has a QR code on it that takes you
Right.
to
Okay.
But if you don't have the trifold, the correct one, like if they gave you the wrong one or you don't have that in your box, then I can certainly send that to you as well.
Okay. No, I mean, thank you. I just letting you know. But I have been on the site printing out some stuff and making notes
But the guides will
for
not be,
myself with it.
the guides I'm referring to, the recipes, the Healthy Swaps, the Eating Out Guide for the Stay Skinny Method, they're not anywhere on the website to print.
Okay. I'll do the QR code.
Okay, so if you don't have it, just email me.
Okay.
If you're
Thank you.
missing it. You're welcome. Yeah, the holidays are, we are a small company doing mighty things. So I can't even believe if you knew that what we turned out from the place that we are. And so sometimes, things get mixed in the shuffle and people miss pamphlets and things. So, and they're definitely really important for the programs to be successful. So if you're ever missing something, contact customer service or me directly and we'll always get that stuff to you. Okay, so another question I always get is how much water am I supposed to drink? And I'll give you two different answers. So when you're cleansing, people think, oh, I'm drinking juice all day, I don't need water. False. You should have a glass of water between every juice during your day. It's just a good idea. It keeps your body detoxing better and helps the toxins move out of your body better. Generally speaking, for hydration, I'm not one of those people that gives a certain amount of grams or like ounces of water to have in a day. If you've been here any length of time, you know that I'm not like a calorie counter or a number counter by any means with anything. But a good rule of thumb is that if your urine is clear, you are hydrated. And if it is not clear, you are dehydrated, which means drink more water. So that's a very simple rule, but it's a no-brainer. So if you watch your urine color and it should be clear or mostly clear, then you know you're hydrated enough. And if it's not, drink some more water. Okay. Oh, the last thing I had, and we kind of already talked about it a little bit, is how to make your resolutions last long-term. The first step in that is making a realistic goal for yourself that you can actually stick to. And the second one is having the right tools surrounding you, meaning either don't have the junk in the house or have a lot of good stuff that appeals to you, have a lot of variety. Don't just have like only apples around because you're gonna get sick of eating apples. Have apples and bananas and strawberries and pineapple and have options for yourself so you grab different things. And lastly, if you haven't tried one of the methods that we have to do post cleanse or as a long-term system, I take a lot of pride in them because we didn't have them 3 years ago before I joined the company. And I created all of them because I knew for years and years and years of working with clients, what kinds of things people really need to stick to plans. So I really tried to put like my heart and soul into creating those programs. And that's why they're working and they're selling so well because they do work. So like, for example, our best-selling weight loss system is the Skinny Method. And the Stay Skinny Method, because you can do it on a weekly basis. You can do it every couple of weeks. You can do it however often that you want, but it includes you eating meals. So it really becomes like lifestyleistic. And the same thing with the Signature Reset. The Signature Reset is an expanded version, basically, of the skinny method. I mean, the skinny method has a little bit of a different premise. It's not all about the greens and the chlorophyll. There is green juice included with that. But it's very similar as far as how you structure your days is the same. Learning the light to heavy way of eating is the same, like I was talking about before with your fats. Learning to eat your fruit by itself. Like the methodology is the same because it all came from my experience that I've done for myself, my own personal journey, and with my clients successfully for so many years. So I highly recommend at least giving them a try. If you struggle and need accountability or need a structure more to your time, even if you just did a few weeks of the Stay Skinny method, for example, that would majorly impact your life once you learn how to do it, because you'll get so much of like that repeated actions becoming a habit, if you know what I mean. So that being said, that was my list of things I wanted to cover, the topics I wanted to cover in this call, which leaves us for about 30 minutes for any kind of questions you have. And if you've asked some, feel free to ask more. We can certainly end early, but usually we end up going over time that early. So I'm here for the taking if you want to ask questions. So the floor is yours.
Okay, Lisa, I just have one more thing to say. This is more towards the company. If there's any way on the website when we order, because I stay in apartments, and if my box doesn't come, it's stuck in the office if they're not open. And I have anxiety every time because there's no little, with other packages, I can put delivered to door. But that's not on the website if that's something you can relay.
Asking for like basically a delivery instructions box kind of a thing?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I will give the feedback.
Thank you.
You're welcome. A lot of changes get made because of feedback that I get from these calls. So if we can do it, we will do it.
Hi, Lisa. It's Leanne again.
Hello.
Hi. So does it matter as far as the time frame between each one that you do? I mean, you just try to stretch it out, and maybe like with your eating, like you probably want to drink your last juice, like say by 7:30 at night.
You were saying when you're cleansing. No, there's really no, I mean, you'll see a lot of companies that are very formulaic and what to have when, and they time it out. And to be honest, it's more of a sales tactic than anything else, because
Okay.
I see no real reason for that. It's really about when you're hungry, you just feel like having it, you can have one. And I don't personally buy into not being able to eat things late at night. I do that all the time. However, it is liquid, so if you don't want to be going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you might want to stop by like 7, so you're not going to have to pee or something.
Okay.
But yeah, there's really no science behind it. The few things that I do recommend that I do feel there's science behind is starting the day with one of the green juices in your pack, because the chlorophyll in greens is chemically proven to reduce or eliminate cravings. So I've said this before, but if you're new here, if you generally crave sweet things, it means you haven't had enough fruit in your day. And if you generally crave salty things, it means you haven't had enough greens or chlorophyll. But your body is telling you want salt, but it really needs chlorophyll. So starting your day with that green juice really will help make your cravings less at the end of the day, especially if you do it for a few days. And secondly, if you're doing one of the cleanses that has smoothies included, I highly recommend doing the smoothies later in the day and the juices earlier in the day. Just like I was saying, light to heavy with the fats. I mean, smoothies have nut milk in them and they're a source of fat. So I would say have them in the second half of your day and start the day with the lighter, refreshing juices, like refreshing water-rich juices.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Ellie, did you have a question?
Yes. So is your email on this trifold?
No, but I will
No.
box for you, because then I would be getting a million bazillion emails. Customer service will forward
Okay.
anything to me. I mean, anytime, but
Okay.
I always give this group my actual email because it's manageable. It's right there in the box for you.
Oh, that's pretty easy to remember. Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
And the other question I had is, so I did receive the one for the Stay Skinny method, and that's not what my order is because I don't have any of the shots. So I'm guessing.
What did you order?
I don't recall. I've always ordered the same thing where it has 2 of the green juices and a protein. So it would be what? 2 proteins and 4 greens? Does that make sense?
I can't think of any product that has 2 green juices and a protein.
Well,
Um,
no, I mean, that's what I use. I think, so it's a three,
Does it build a box?
it's a 3-day, right? So the 3-day would be 6 juices. Is that
Oh,
correct?
are you saying
Per day.
is it lower sugar cleanse when you're having 4 green juices a
Yes,
day?
lower
2
sugar.
Okay, so you're doing a lower
Is
sugar
there a
cleanse.
card for that or no?
That's just a general cleanse card. All the cleanses get the same card because cleansing is the same pretty much across the board. So they don't get a specific card per type of cleanse. You should just get the regular cleanse trifold. Comes in that box.
And then, okay, maybe they put this in to encourage me to do the Stay Skinny method next.
We'll put a skinny method card in every cleanse box. It's the best thing to do after a cleanse to keep your results.
Okay.
So that's why they do that. So we found that people, when they do the skinny method right after a cleanse, they'll keep their cleanse weight off and they lose another 2 or 3 pounds every week that they do this method. So that's why they get that box. But that
And then one of the things I'm noticing is wakefulness. So I am drinking my last meal as the protein.
Mhm.
And I'm maybe 6:37, but I am very wakeful. And I was just wondering if that is my body, like its response to you've decreased your intake. And I don't know why but I really am having a hard time sleeping.
You have a lot of energy at night when you cleanse.
Uh-huh.
It could be that there's the natural sugar in the smoothie. I mean, it could be that, or more likely it's just that you have more energy because when you eat, I'll tell you, this is a funny story. My mom always makes fun of this. When I started eating a raw diet, I did it because I was in school for nutrition and I was very perplexed because the courses were so contradictory. And I was always a tough case. I had a hard time losing weight most of my life. I was typical Italian girl, liked food, but didn't overindulge, and I just could not get to the weight I wanted. And I learned why because of my metabolism many years later. But anyway, I tried each kind of therapy I learned about in school. And when I tried a raw diet, within 3 weeks, first of all, I looked and felt like a different person. That's why I stuck with it for half my life now. But secondly, my energy was like skyrocketing. I mean, I would bounce out of bed hours early, go to the gym, do my whole thing before I would even normally have been awake. And that eventually like tapered into like a normal kind of a routine. But in the beginning, getting those toxins out and just getting all that fresh stuff in totally like made my energy surge. So you're probably experiencing a little bit of that. I mean, it's actually a really good thing. It's not a bad thing, but I mean, you do want to be able to sleep. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you might be better if you have like a little like potato or something, and it might kind of help you feel a little more like not tired, but those kind of carbs make you a little more sleepy. So that might help you get a little more of a fuller sleep
Okay.
feeling. You could try that.
Yeah. Okay. Last question, I promise.
It's okay.
So I was thinking a lot about what you said about bananas. And so, I feel like recent research is like, oh, eat green bananas because of the prebiotics. So not good
1,000%.
information.
I am 1,000% against that.
Okay.
You can get prebiotic fiber in a billion ways.
Oh, I have it. Yeah.
You eat
Okay.
fruits and vegetables and you get prebiotic fiber.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't ever endorse eating anything underripe. I've seen way too many issues with it and never really anything good coming from it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see. I'm not trying to pronounce your name. Sinara?
Samara.
Sinara, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks, Lisa, for taking my question.
Of course.
For me, I've been a probably raw generation customer for like 8 years,
Nice.
7 or 8 years. Yeah. And my mom does it. She gets like a little box that we built for her every 2 weeks. And my
Oh.
husband and I split a box
I love it.
to supplement just our day to day.
Mhm.
But as with the new year, I kind of want to go hard a little bit and do more of a cleanse. But my challenge is I don't particularly love smoothies because of the texture in general, not just raw generation smoothies, but smoothies in general.
Okay.
So therefore getting protein's a challenge. I've noticed there are a couple of, on the market, there are a couple of like water-based or juice-based protein drinks now. Is that something that y'all are considering, or because it's not as natural, maybe not? I'm just trying to figure out how to get protein without on a cleanse without having to do a smoothie.
One thing we do have, we have that we added this year, the Instant Smoothie Detox Cleanse. And it's a powdered product, and it's 100% just fruits and vegetables, freeze dry. It's nothing, no maltodextrin or weird things added like other ones. So like as opposed to other powdered cleanses, this will not stir in with a spoon intentionally. Like if it did, then you know it has chemicals in it. So you have to do it like in the blender with like a little immersion blender, like a shaker ball bottle works great. But they can be mixed with water or with nut milk. So they have protein inherently in them with or without the nut milk. But if you don't mind nut milk as a part of the texture, that really bumps the protein, or oat milk even really bumps the protein up. So that's one thing you could potentially try. As far as doing like a juice-based protein drink, it does not work. I've tried multiple different things here with lots of different types of, like, say, for example, a powder with juice. That while we can make it, we always have to do everything it has to always pass a freeze and thaw test, because we blast freeze everything, as you know, flash freeze instantly after it's made. And when you flash freeze things, you never are totally sure how it's going to come out post freeze the first time. And sometimes things react very strangely that you can't predict. So for example, if I was to put like an egg white powder into a juice, which I've tried, it comes out extremely clumpy and weird after it's frozen, but it's totally fine before it goes in the freezer. So sometimes we can't do things that we could do, like if you were buying something fresh from us that day, we can't make it work post freezing, if you know what I mean. So what we can, even the smoothies that we have tried to make smoothies without nut milk, and they also don't post freeze well at all. The nut milk keeps them homogenized. So that's why we do always with the nut milk in our smoothies. So I don't know if that helps clarify a little bit with that, but I would say the best bet of what we currently have is to maybe try the Instant Smoothie Cleanse and see if you possibly like that. I mean, I will tell you, I tasted every powdered cleanse on the market, like 10 or 12 of them, and they are horrifyingly gross tasting. And ours, I'm not going to say I love it like our juice, but I definitely like it so much better than those ones. And I know that it's clean. I love, love, love it with oat milk mixed in. And I like it enough with water mixed in that I could certainly drink a few of them a day. So if that helps.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Yeah, I'm dairy free, so I couldn't have like a different milk anyway. So
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Allison, did you have a question?
I do, thank you. So just listening, talking about some of the timing that you were talking about, especially like with the smoothies. So I purposely chose the protein 3-day detox. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right name of the program, but I purposely chose that because I do strength training.
Okay.
And I'm also currently in the process of trying to transition my protein intake to more plant-based protein from meat and dairy protein. So
Okay.
I'm not sure, so what I also lift first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. So I am starving after that. So I always go for a smoothie first. And so I'm curious about timing, and I'm curious your thoughts on the protein, because I know even in the day it's a total of 40 grams, and I'm used to getting 20 within an hour post lifting.
Right. Well, you have two couple things. One, when you're cleansing, it's never going to be the same as when you're eating a normal diet, because the cleanse is a short term time, of course. But I mean, if you're doing a more sustainable program would be say the Protein Method program, for example. That has still not enough for your day, but that incorporates meals, and that comes with macro calculated recipes that have tells you how to combine these proteins with these meals to make enough protein for whatever meals you want to put together. And the other thing that you might be able to do now, it depends on your goal with the weight. If you're just, if weight loss isn't part of your goal, or just if you're just maintaining, a lot of people I know, like my cousin, for example, that do really strenuous workouts first thing in the morning, they love our little protein boosts. They taste like peanut butter and jelly. They're thick. So I always recommend opening it and capping it up with water and then shaking it, because it keeps the same protein mass, 10 grams in a little tiny bottle. And there's no powder in it. It's just made from, Whole Foods. And he likes to have that either right before or right after his workout, at the crack of dawn when he goes before the work, and that sustains him for a long time till he has his first juice at the office. So now for him, that causes no problems with bloating or weight loss. You have to try it for yourself. But that would be the best advice. I mean, it wouldn't really follow the light to heavy protocol, but you're also doing more intense, it sounds like more intense lifting than the average person does. So you might not be able to do that as much unless you were to do something like I mean, I would rely also heavily on bananas if that was the case. So
Okay.
maybe doing like a banana before you work out, and maybe like a banana smoothie with dates after. Like that's like a great recovery smoothie. Like if you were to put 3 or 4 frozen ripe bananas in a blender, if you have like a Vitamix or a good blender, with like a handful of dates and blend it with water, that's like a great post workout,
Cool.
like high calorie carb, and there's some protein in there too. Um, I'm not really a big believer in getting the amount of protein in that most people push getting. Not that I'm not, you definitely need protein, but like I don't do the whole like get 150 grams of protein a day. That's just not how I structure my way of teaching people or eating. So I might not be your best source to talk about this, but there are certainly lots of plant-based options for protein. I mean, like there's beans, there's chickpeas, there's there's nuts and seeds, but they're higher calories. So you have to be careful how much of those you have. I mean, there's covert protein in almost all foods. All fruits and vegetables have some protein, but not like massive amounts. Oats are a great source. So like a lot of people will do oatmeal before or after a workout because that's like a lower, like that fits actually with the like light to heavy. If you did oatmeal after your workout, you don't want to do a smoothie, and you put like some berries or whatever in there, that is one way to get some protein without messing up your whole light to heavy plan. I'm not sure if this helps you or not.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it's always a little bit of a challenge when people work out so early like that to stick with the light to heavy. But I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely, prior to hurting my back a year ago, I used to do very intense HIIT training every day, like 5 days a week, 4 days a week, at 7 a.m. And I just relied on having fruit after to replenish. And I have no problem cutting muscle at all. I never have. Once I lost the fat off my body. But I wasn't also trying to be like heavyweight lifting person champion. So I'm not sure what your goals are, but I was always okay with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Jennifer, you are up.
So Allison hit on kind of the majority of my question.
Oh.
Related just to the light to heavy and early morning workouts, but kind of, I guess, 2 related questions. One, like I'm starting the 90-day reset. My stuff actually like 5 minutes ago appeared on my doorstep. So, but like, so it starts with like a 5-day cleanse. Like in terms of like exercise or exertion, like, are there any just general guidelines in terms of like, can I maintain my normal workouts like during a cleanse?
Well, this is a skinny cleanse that you get with that program. This is not meant for like intense workout maintenance. But you can certainly add extra calories from fruits so you can work out if you want, or from potatoes, and it will not impede what you're trying to do. So if you're going to try to keep your workouts up, I would say add in a few bananas or some grapes or some potatoes or sweet potatoes or something like that to the cleanse. And that way you can not feel like faint or weak doing your workout, because the skinny cleanse is only like, it's under 800 calories a day by itself. And it's certainly not enough to maintain workouts. It's meant just for like maybe walking or something. That's why you do the 2 cleanses.
Okay. And then related to your comment on protein, I've had multiple doctors now, like including like a holistic practitioner, say that, for menopausal women, like my protein, like I need to up my protein and like limit the carbs. And like I've even been told like beans have too many carbs and I really need to like, I've been vegetarian most of my life, but like I've been like, adding in fish a little bit, and I've just been do you have like any comments on like nutritional changes like through menopause?
Now, are you struggling with certain symptoms that is causing them to give you advice? Like, are you struggling with weight gain unexpectedly or other like symptoms that come along with menopause?
I've had weight gain, yes.
Unexplained, just like not changing your habits, but just gaining weight.
Last year there was a lot of changes. Yeah, it's menopause was like one of them, but like a lot of other situational things as well.
But I mean, like, did your diet change as a result?
Yeah,
of it? It did. Okay, so I have some. I mean, I would say not the majority, but a lot of my clients are pre-menopausal and menopausal women that struggle with the symptoms and the weight associated with menopause, and hormone regulation and all that. And I am not necessarily a believer that the extra protein is what fixes it. I'm not, or that the carbs are what harm it if you're getting the correct types. So what has worked with my clients is, number one, including good amounts of chlorophyll on a daily basis in the form of juices or smoothies. It's key. Chlorophyll is one of the best hormone regulators out there, not known as one, but it definitely is. Also learning to what the healthy fats are and making sure you have them on a pretty regular basis, because your body will need more healthy fats than you expect when you're going through hormonal changes, meaning the cold pressed oils, the raw nuts and seeds, the flaxseed, that kind of stuff. But I still recommend having it properly combined with other foods. So you say you want to, maybe your day's going to start with a green juice or a smoothie, and you're going to have fruit up until lunch. Maybe lunch is going to be a couple hard-boiled eggs with some rice, and you're going to include some healthy fat in the form of an avocado or something. So if you do that, then from that point on, I wouldn't have more fruit, and I would make your dinner another clean dinner with vegetable heavy for sure, and also a healthy carb. The carbs you should be including are whole carbs like potatoes. I'll never villainize a potato. I'll stand by till the day I die. I think they're phenomenal food for fitness, for weight loss, and for hormones. And if you're going to include any type of grain, it should be whole grains. And I don't mean a whole grain product like whole grain bread. I mean whole grains like literal brown rice or oats, real quinoa, like real oats. I mean real grains like boiled. I have not seen anyone have issues with those and weight when they're in menopausal years. You can certainly not think about, I don't think you have to worry about having those. But yeah, the processed carbs for sure. I mean, if that's what they're referring to, they're right. If they're referring to carbs like vegetables and fruit carbs, they're wrong. You need the minerals and vitamins in those foods more than ever when you're in menopause. And so limiting them is going to eventually hurt you and not help you. It is very commonplace for doctors, holistic and regular doctors, to promote high protein and low carb because it works well for weight loss, and it doesn't require a lot of research for the patient or a lot of knowledge of how to distinguish different types. It's just a very blanket, and it kind of tends to work, but it's not the ultimate healthiest thing for anyone, in my opinion, any human. What's healthiest, in my opinion, is an 80-10-10 lifestyle. 80% from fresh carbs, meaning fruits, vegetables primarily, and some of the others I mentioned in a smaller amount. 10% fat and 10% protein, possibly maybe 15 and 15 if you want to do a little extra protein and fat at the most. And I have seen women and men in all stages of life succeed with that type of a lifestyle. Athletic, not athletic, doesn't matter. So that is my take, and that's how I always approached it with my clients. There's probably a lot of evidence to support other ways, and I always say this, I don't close my mind to anything. I read all the new stuff, and I try different things, and I'm always, I'm like a perpetual learner, but when I know something really works and I've stuck with it because it does work with multiple kinds of people, not just myself, that's where I've always landed. So I don't know if that helps you or confuses you, but
yeah, no, thank you. It's hard with so much conflicting information out there. Like
it's hard.
I felt best in my life when I've been on a vegan diet, but I'm being told that that's not good at this stage of life.
I think you should go with, my opinion, this is just my opinion, so I'm not going to talk against your doctors, is you should go with your gut of what makes you feel, because your body knows best. And if you go with biologically, I'll tell you how I personally decided how to eat. Now, aside from me trying everything else, and this worked the best. At some point, I like, okay, well, why is this working? I wanted to know, because I'm very curious, why does this work, and why do the other things not work? And to me, I mean, faith is a big part of my life, so I took it back to God made this food, so it must be okay for us to eat, and that's just how I personally think about it. But if you take it back to even humans, biologically, what would you eat? Like if you were just put out there with your bare hands, what would you naturally incline to eating? Would it be would you see a rabbit and think about a way to with your hands kill it and eat it? No, it would probably be oranges on a tree, because they would smell good and they would taste good, and you could eat 10 of them and be full and have energy. So to me, it was so basic when that clicked in my mind. Well, of course this raw vegan diet kind of works, and I'm not a raw vegan supremacist by any means, especially not now in my life. But I think that eating a lot of raw vegan foods is so important for health and for just general longevity. So and that's what I've lived by more than half my life now. And it all came back to just taking it back to basics, because there is so much conflicting information. One day coffee is bad, one day chocolate's bad. I mean, you could go crazy if you just followed the headlines of what's bad. But if you take it back to nature and just what would you personally be drawn to in its natural form, I think you're going to come back to fruit almost every time. And that's kind of where I landed. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Leanne.
Hi again. Two quick questions for you. So
Mhm.
you suggest having a baked potato. Does that include the skin?
Yes. Yes or no? Up to you.
Okay, good. Second thing, do you believe or do you encourage people to do an anti-inflammatory diet?
Very much so.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Did you have questions about it?
No, I'm just starting that. Like I have celiac disease, and I also have arthritis. So it's I do another cleanse from another company. It's not a juice, it's an intermittent fasting, like a fast mimicking diet. So you can still eat regular, but it's just like what they send you. But anyway, no, I had purchased an anti-inflammatory diet book. Just yesterday I was going through it, marking recipes and just making my grocery list. So I was just thinking about that along with the juices, that you're, the ingredients in those, and just like what I would normally.
Yes. I mean, what I promote primarily is an alkaline promoting diet, which is automatically also anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
And so all fruits and vegetables are pretty much anti-inflammatory when they're raw.
Okay.
And you'll find that most foods that are, many foods that are cooked are inflammatory, not all, but there's certain foods that are highly inflammatory. You probably know this from the bookery that you're reading, the dairy and the, fried foods and certain animal things. But when your body is, alkaline, it's naturally less inflamed. And, most sickness can't proliferate when your body's alkaline, which is why I'm such a big proponent of that. And that's why the greens are like such a big part of my programs, because greens are the most alkalizing food on the planet. They're also super anti-inflammatory. So having green juices or smoothies every day is just, to me, like a no-brainer. It's just part of my life to always include. And it's interesting because when I meet clients years later, they say that no matter like what, even if I fall off the wagon, like I never stop my green smoothies. I still make them every day. Like that much stuck with people. Whatever I said, I guess that's stuck. So I hope that sticks with you guys too.
Yeah, thank you.
So just to add to that, would nightshades, like I've heard a lot, like that those are inflammatory, but it sounds like you're.
Yeah, I also have heard that, and I've never personally dealt with someone that actually had real reactions from them. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have not personally seen that, and I have never tried limiting them. I've never seen a need to limit them. So I don't want to say definitively that they definitely don't cause problems in anyone. I don't think it's nearly as big a deal as people make them to be. That's been my own personal experience. Let's see. Are sweet potatoes okay? Yes, they're absolutely okay. Just bake them. She asked if sweet potatoes are okay. Just bake them. Don't use any butter or anything on them. You could bake or boil them or whatever. But yes, you can absolutely have as many as you want, cleansing or not cleansing. You can put them in the air fryer, make sweet potato fries too. I think Ellie, you asked about air fryers. Any last minute questions?
Yeah. Real quick, you probably went over this earlier, and I joined the conversation late, but the thing that I keep hearing, even with my dear friend who's a nutritionist, who's like, you probably shouldn't have all those juices because it has too much sugar. You shouldn't have whole fruit. How have you talked about that with folks over the years?
Right, you broke up a little. You're saying, has someone said that juices have too much sugar as opposed to whole fruit?
Yeah.
I definitely believe most so in the power of whole fruits and whole foods. 1000%. That's how I've mostly lived my life. However, I also think juicing is a phenomenal tool for people who, number one, are either not going to regularly eat enough fruit, or that want to get more of a detox because it's just a digestive break, and that you can get much more concentrated nutrition in a juice than you can get like in one piece of fruit. You get 6 apples in a juice as opposed to 1 apple. You're just eating it, and there's a lot more nutrition like concentrated that way. Same thing with spinach or anything else. That being said, if you're not a diabetic, you don't have to even think twice about the amount of sugar, in my opinion, that you're having in juice versus having fruit. As long as you're not drinking them super fast. Some people tend to guzzle juice, and that is not the best plan. I would say to drink it more slowly is definitely a better thing to practice to embrace. But yeah, I mean, I'm always going to tout the whole foods more so than any fractionated food. So in my opinion, whole fruit is the best. And smoothies would be the next best. It's blended whole foods, and then juices would be next. But I think they're all, I don't discount any of them as being health tools. So did I miss anyone? I think I didn't.
Can you see me? It's Portia.
Oh, hi, Portia. How are you?
Good. This is not related really to the health thing, but I just got a notice from, I guess, FedEx that delivers my products, and they were
Mhm.
supposed to deliver it yesterday, and something happened, so they've delivered it today, and
Okay.
I'm not home yet. But do I have to worry about if
Where do
they're
you live, Portia? Is it cold where you are?
well, it's cold now. It's 47. So I'm hoping, everything will be okay. But usually I'm in Florida. So usually it's, I have a problem sometimes.
Okay, it's fine. What you can do is when you open it, if there's any ice crystals left in any of the bottles, that means it's totally safe. If there's
Okay.
not, just call customer first and they'll replace it for you.
Okay.
Because we've had a lot of delivery issues with the holidays. Like, oh my gosh, so many things have gotten so delayed, totally out of our control. We've been replacing things left and right for people. So they won't be surprised to hear from you if it's not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yep. Any else want to? Oh, go
I-
ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry.
We can next time. I don't have a hard stop. We're fine.
The
How
veggie book.
often do you,
Oh, how about Leanne? You go first.
Okay.
sorry, how often do you do these webinars?
Every month. Usually it's the first Wednesday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern time. However, this week obviously it was a little different because of where the holiday fell. But yeah, once a month.
Thank you.
Yep. And Ellie, go ahead.
I was just thinking, if I wanted to also do intermittent fasting, would it be okay to use that 4-hour window and to drink? Maybe I would only drink 4 juices. I mean, like 2 protein, what are they called? Smoothies and 2 juices. Would
You're
that be
saying
okay for just 5 days?
as long as you feel okay, energy wise, it's totally fine.
Okay.
We become so afraid of like underfeeding ourselves, but our bodies are meant to sustain fasting for a long time. And as long as you physically feel okay, if you
Okay.
don't feel well, then listen to your body and have more calories. But if you feel okay, then yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Portia, did you mean to raise your hand again, or was that an accident?
Yeah, no, I got the thing that has the veggie burgers in it too.
Mhm.
And I don't know what I did with the card where it tells you like different recipes or how to fix those.
Okay, so you need the recipe card and also the preparation card, both of the cards?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to email me, I could get them over to you digitally.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yep. Ted, please don't forget to send me your testimonial because I'm so excited by it. I think he's on another call right now. But is there anything else, you guys, that you wanted to still talk about?
I need to get his box. It's falling over. I picked the box up on the floor. Oh my gosh. They call them up on through.
What's your not muted?
You put the boxes on Home Depot. Oh gosh.
I think you're not muted. Could you mute your microphone? Thank you. Is there anyone else that had anything else before I sign off? You guys have been great. Really, really enjoyed it. Oh, one more. Go for it, Stacy. I hope you come back. Will the cleanse affect my immune system? Will it affect it in what way? Do you want to unmute or do you prefer? It's up to you.
Sorry, my dog is barking.
Oh, it's okay.
How
are you, Stacy?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I was just wondering, I have a procedure next week that yeah, I have a little downtime. So I wondered if it's not a good idea to be cleansing during that time. Like for negatively, would it affect my immune system negatively? It would think opposite, but I wasn't sure.
It will boost your immune system. It will not negatively affect your immune system. And it actually will give your body more energy digestively to heal other things going on. So it'll speed the healing process it's always better to eat lighter and like easier to digest foods when you're healing from any kind of procedure or going through a procedure because your body heals so much faster.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, I think we hit everything. Oh, Ted, you're off. Don't forget to email me, Ted. I'm going to look forward to seeing that testimonial email. Please.
I'm double tasking. Sorry.
I said to you before and I realized you were on like another call or something. So, all right, guys. Well, this has been great. I really, really enjoy these calls, and thanks for all the great questions. And if you ever have things you'd like me to cover in future meetings, drop me an email. I'm always looking for new ideas or things that interest you guys. Otherwise, I come up with things in my own head, but I'm happy to cover anything you want to cover in more detail. So I hope you guys have a great next month.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate this.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.